Yoav Koren.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Welcome.
I'm good. I'm good.
Get your mic a bit closer, yes, so we can
right.
hear your beautiful voice and your amazing lyrics.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah, for you, Scooch as well.
I'm good.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
We've been trying to do this for quite a while.
For quite a while, but we made it.
We made it.
Yes. We got
Not a surprise.
an amazing addition here to the team.
She's a superstar, I'm telling you.
God,
Amazing.
the focus is on you today.
I'm trying. You're kind of stealing my thunder here.
Team8's.
Yes.
You guys have had a successful 2024.
Yeah, 2024 was crazy.
It was
Wow.
crazy.
What's it? 5 exits?
5 exits. I like to say, and allow me to say that since October 7th, 2023, we had 5 exits. And I think it's important to mention it. It was a crazy year, right, for all of us. A year of contrasts in Israeli tech. I think we had a lot of headwinds as a country, as an ecosystem. But, you know, at Team8, 5 exit. We launched, I think, 8 companies this year, 2 mega rounds, a lot of new things. We raised $500 million for 3 new funds.
Next level.
But you know, one of Team8's founders, Nadav Tafrir, currently CEO of Checkpoint, used to be the commander of 8200, always says, right, like, we have these wins, but eyes on the prize, look forward, right? We always have a lot more to achieve. So that's kind of the mindset.
Amazing. It's not getting distracted by success, just going forward.
Going forward.
This is crazy. I mean, you know, Team8, I feel like Team8, first of all, Yoav is not the first Team8 member to be on the show, and hopefully not the last. But I feel like when Team8 started, people were a bit skeptical, you know?
Right.
Different model. People didn't know what it will be like. Is this some sort of an accelerator? Are just founders who are using their own money to bootstrap, and they just want to make it look a bit more sexy in a sense? But the model fucking works. I mean, you guys are dominating. Can you kind of elaborate on like the process and how it looks like?
Yeah. So maybe if we go back to the origins of Team8 for a second, because you're right. Venture right is a business that it takes time to understand if you're right or wrong. And I think in the past few years, we're seeing the model work not only in cybersecurity where we started, but now in additional verticals. So when Team8 started by Nadav, Israel, and Iran, went like straight out of the army of 8200 to build Team8, there were people who were skeptical, and it took a while to raise the first fund. People didn't really understand how to categorize Team8. Are they a VC? Are they a company? But we, started a whole new thing of venture creation. The idea back then was really to try to increase the probability of success of the companies, early stage companies you work with. Again, back then only in cybersecurity, and take the traditional venture capital model and try to innovate it, because it was pretty much left untouched for decades.
And still is, but for the most part.
Still is for the most part, but we are seeing more innovation, right? VCs are doing much more stuff, not only investing across different value creation, which I'm sure we'll get to, because it is big as part of Team8 as well. So the idea back then, you asked about the process, was to bring on one side like the top tech talent that they knew from the intelligence units, and on the other, really understand what the big enterprises of the world, what their problems look like, what keeps them up at night, and melt these two down into a very structured process that basically every step in the way is about de-risking company building. How can we predict product market fit? How we can predict the winners? And be very, validation obsessed along the way. So that was kind of the idea. And since then, 11 years later, Team8 expanded both in the verticals that we operate in, but also in the asset classes. So we don't only build companies ground up with founders in cybersecurity, we do it in fintech and digital health and AI, data infrastructure. But we do it also while we invest in companies in the early stages like any other VC. In that way, in the areas that we operate in, we both build and invest, and that's kind of the model today.
Which part is more successful in terms of like actual ROI, like joining different rounds later on or building from scratch?
So look, you can ask like what's harder, what's successful, right? So
how do you define that success?
Yeah. So basically, we launched our VC in 2019, our early stage venture capital. We started building companies in 2014. It takes a lot of time to build a company, right?
Really?
When we're when we're very much, from the early days, pre-idea, working about the company. So it takes months. We build in each vertical between 1 to 2 companies a year. When investing, it's much more high pace. Again, it takes time, diligence, and everything. So
but you're not actually building those hands-on, which is the heavy lifting.
Yeah. So now Team8 has about like 50 portfolio companies. Half and half companies we built and companies we invested in. So the investment really catched up the building part because, again, it takes a bit less time.
Right. What I always found fascinating, because, I started working in VC 4 years ago, and I I was introduced to Team8 pretty early on, and all the VCs I knew had like 8 people. And then Team8 all of a sudden has what, 80?
We're about 100 today.
100? So that, to me, just is such a big difference.
Yeah.
And I would love to know, like, how is that split up? What does that look like? How many people are helping build, investing? Like, give us the inside glimpse into what Team8's structured.
Yeah, so the structure is complex, but I'll try to simplify it. Look, 100 people, it's a lot. But again, Team8, as part of our model, like, we don't take the management fees of Team8 home. We put it back and invest in resources to invest in our companies. And those resources are the exact 100 people I mentioned.
You don't take the management fees. I didn't know that.
That's part of the model.
Because if you're giving 100, you're investing a ton.
We're investing a ton of resources because, again, it's part of the belief of de-risking company building. And to de-risk, building a company, it takes quite a lot. So we want our founders to be focused as much as they can on the product, on sales, and we'll be there with like whatever we can to support them. And by the way, we constantly evolve. We add new teams to our platform. We add new capabilities. So, imagine an early stage founder with an idea that gets a platform team that large that includes professional people from, go-to-market, biz dev, marketing, sales acceleration to content, brand, HR, finance, IT, real estate, legal, everything.
Crazy. It's a superpower for any founder.
Unbelievable.
Really.
Yeah, and again, the goal is not to replace any of the team members, but to help them whatever we can. Again, it's I like to call it's like an alignment of interest. As much as we can between a venture firm and a company.
I think this is super fascinating because, we talked about value creation.
Yep.
And I've been, so a lot of VCs say the word value creation. And a lot of times I ask them, what exactly is your value? It's like a joke, like VCs feel like, but Team8 actually has that value and that alignment where you guys, I didn't know that before. You guys are literally taking your management fees and reinvesting into the company. What do LPs think about that when they need to decide, I'm just, when you're looking to, basically, for people who don't know, when you're a VC, you go and you have LP. Some of them are high net worth individuals, but some of them are big financial institutions. And you're literally talking to someone who needs to decide if he wants to put X amount of money into Team8 or X amount of money into a different kind of VC.
Right. So first of all, Team8 is built across several funds, right? So investors, LPs have the opportunity to invest in different types of fund, different types of activities, but Team8 is one GP. We're one partnership, and we're very much working as a group together, combining the different skill set, combining the different knowledge. And I think that's part of the magic at Team8. And to your question around, value add services, that it is a very broad term. And I think every VC today has some sort of capability around value add services, from, top tier VCs globally to a very, niche, early small team has that function of value add, because capital today isn't enough. And VCs are doing a great job at this. But I think what's unique at Team8 is not only the services around, but really the ability to provide founders with a validated thesis of a company, a validated thesis of a domain. Let's work together on this. We have conviction, we have a network, we have potential buyers. Now let's build a company and scale that. So that's kind of a different
ball game, actually.
It's a different ballgame. It's a different type of value. But again, I think in general, in the venture ecosystem, VCs are doing a great job because they understand that increasing the probability of success is much more than capital. It's attention. It's helping the founders where they need, not necessarily where they ask for, but where they need, which is important.
100%. I mean, I do feel like with this whole value add, a lot of times it feels like funds put this term value add almost in an effort to differentiate themselves from other funds. When it's less authentically like we're actually adding value, they need to. It's like a competitive positioning thing, and I think Team8's, it's kind of that's the whole ethos of you guys is that
it's a mindset.
You're giving tachlis value from the very first beginnings of a validated thesis.
Yeah, we very much try to do so.
In terms of like the idea creation process, obviously we're talking about early start and like we're talking about early stage companies, and there's pivots and there's iterations, etc. But how does that process look like? Do you guys let's say if it's in cyber, do you guys like go to the CISOs and ask them like, what do you need help with? Is that how the process looks like?
So it's kind of a bit of everything. I like to call it an ideation origination scale. So imagine that on the one side of the scale, you have what we call thesis-driven ideation, right? We create a thesis, and that can come from our network. Like you say, Team8 operates different villages, which are groups with members from specific industries.
I love that term village. I love how it takes a village.
It's a fancy word for a network, but yeah, it takes a village basically to build a company. So we basically talk to the market. We want to understand what the market wants, what they need, what are they talking about. And then, sourcing from that ideas, or not necessarily ideas, but opportunities or domains that we need to build companies in. It can come from internal domain expertise, right? We have a big team of people who build companies in the past, managed companies in the past, or expertise we gained through building other companies in similar domains or investing in companies in similar domains. And then we spend a lot of time, months, deep diving into domains, learning it inside out. And once we get to a conviction that, we want to build a company there, we start to date founders who really can take it a step forward. And it means that they're the ones that are deciding the exact problem and the exact solution, and we're helping them with that. So basically that's a thesis-driven ideation. On the other side, it's a founder-driven ideation where founders we meet come to us with a thesis, initial idea, and then we go ahead and validate solution. So it's kind of like across all that scale, right? Because companies aren't born the same, and we want to be able to do everything.
Right.
So yeah.
The founder dating is super interesting to me. What does that look like?
So it's really kind of like a relationship, right? When we work with the founders, it takes time to understand if we want to work together. It's not like when we build a company together, we build a company together.
It's a long-term relationship.
It's a long-term relationship. It's 4 years, right? And we want to make sure that both for the founders, they like to work with us, we like to work with them, and together we like to explore this domain that we're exploring. So it takes time, and we're doing it by, talking to the market together, researching together, brainstorming. And that's, I think, part of the fit that we have with the founders, what we call like a Team8 fit, of founders that, enjoy this collaborative approach.
You definitely have to find the founders that like that collaboration, because you do get founders that they want the money and they want to be left alone to go and run. And I'm sure Team8's, there's a specific type of founder that is open to collaboration and to that kind of support that might be a bit different.
Yeah, I agree. Founders we work with, we want that open, right, ideas, people who want to hear feedback, people who want to be collaborative about building company. But again, not all founders are the same, and we work with every type of founder because, again, we basically want to make sure that we support them in the way that they need. So every founder acts different, operates their company different, and we're there.
Right.
So
there's no one right way to do that.
There's no one right way.
For sure.
Let's talk fintech.
Yes.
I mean, you're one of the leading voices in fintech. Would you say that's a strong argument?
You'll say that.
He's like, I'm not disagreeing.
I'm not disagreeing, but I can't confirm it. Yeah.
Man, you've become a very strong voice in fintech, and I love fintech, so I've been following you for quite a while. But fintech has been like going through major shifts.
Yeah.
If you look at like 2021, there's obviously like a big bubble, but you would think, companies like Checkout.com, Klarna, they were just exploding in terms of valuation. People were saying like fintech is the next cybersecurity.
Yes.
Everyone was fintech. Let's go all in on fintech. But then there was kind of like a halt in a sense where people were like, is fintech going to live up to its hype? And is fintech and is lots of those fintech products even useful products, because there's problems with regulations and cross countries and cross rules, and every government can basically very easily change their rules, and it affects those young startups.
Yep.
And we even see now with like Checkout.com, you saw their valuation got slashed a bit. Klarna.com obviously fired like lots of people in their staff. What's fintech all about right now?
So first of all,
do we still need to be positive about fintech?
We definitely still need to be positive about fintech, and we're seeing it in the markets now, right? So first of all, on Team8 and fintech, we launched our fintech practice 4+ years ago, and it was a very natural expansion for us at Team8 to move like it was the first vertical that we expanded to after cybersecurity, because again, part of that village that we talk to a lot are financial institutions that asked us for more solutions, not only cyber, but for their core activity. We had the demand. And then we built our fintech practice with, Rakefet, who was the CEO of Bank Leumi, founders of Payoneer, eToro, and now Next, Alon Khouli, that joined us this year.
It's a great team.
It's a great team, and each one of them is different and brings different.
Even the CMO, Asaf, is from Bank Hapoalim.
Asaf Azulai, part of our platform team, part of our partnership. CMO of Bank Hapoalim knows a lot about that, and we have many different people, right? We have Galia who came from PayPal. We have a lot of people that come from different areas within fintech, because fintech is very broad. And in order to build in fintech, you need to have those different perspectives. So that's first of all on like Team8 and fintech. And I think in the past few years, we really established our brand around that, both globally and in Israel, and we're continuing to do so. Fintech in 2024, I think we're seeing, we're continuing the trend from last year, 2023, which I can call like we're recovering from that exact 2021 boom. But we're seeing more investments, like I think it was 30% more investments from 2023. We're seeing a lot more acquisitions globally. M&A surged like 50%. A lot of acquisitions around payments obviously is still big, and lending is big.
FundGuard was one of your big funding rounds last year.
Yes, FundGuard, a company that we backed, raised for $100 million this year. Yeah, so we have a very broad also fintech portfolio, and we're definitely seeing, the more investor confidence in fintech, and I think we're going to see it in the public markets as well in 2025, which I think is very, very exciting, because you said it yourself. Fintech in 2021 was a very hype around valuations, and there were very shaky business models sometimes, and the market needed to correct itself. And don't forget, fintech is very much related to, the economic situation and the macro trends.
Right.
So it really affected fintech probably more than any other vertical. But we're seeing investors gaining more confidence in fintech.
It's the second, after Saba in Israel, it's fintech, right?
Yeah, it's definitely fintech, and then healthcare, which we also
big players now.
Yeah, we established our healthcare, our digital health practice as well. So yeah, it's big in Israel, and we can talk about why it is. Israel is a very, it's a top producer.
I would love to know why fintech in Israel specifically.
Yes, so Israel is one of the top 5 fintech unicorn producers globally, which not a lot of people know about, but it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I think, when I think about fintech in Israel, I think it's like 3 main reasons on why. First of all, the talent, what's good for cyber and data is good for fintech.
Overlaps a lot of those.
It overlaps a lot. Data capabilities are very much driver in fintech innovation. So that's one. 2, in the past 15 years or so, even 20, we're seeing a lot of the global, fintech players or financial players open both R&D and business centers here. So imagine the PayPal of the world, the Intuits of the world. Citi has a big center here, a lot of the big banks. And on top of the tech knowledge that the talent in Israel had, they now gained professional financial services fintech knowledge. So you see a lot of founders come out of these companies. You mentioned Checkout, Klarna, a lot have activities here in Israel. And the third is that we're seeing the second and third generation of fintech founders that came out of fintech startups, right? Payoneer, for example, one of the biggest fintech companies in Israel, right? One of our portfolio companies, 40Cs, the founder and CEO, Eyal, was 10 years at Payoneer before launching his own venture.
Exponential effect. It's like more fintech's going to breed more fintechs at the end of the day.
And that's what we're seeing now. We're like investing in the second, third generation of fintech founders.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How much fintech do you actually need, though? Because it's like, okay, there's payments, then there's like, then you have like lending and like banking and those kind of.
Can you also say about any sector?
Maybe I can, but like I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe I can. You can ask.
It's a good. We have to think.
I can definitely ask that about AI though. About like AI productivity. Those AI productivity tools.
Okay, productivity specifically, but
AI is cross, right? Everything, but fintech, as I said, it's very broad. It includes everything.
Are you into Web3 and those kind of stuff as well?
We do. We built Curve in the past, which is in the crypto space, digital.
Oh, you guys started Curve?
We started Curve. Curve was a company that we started a few years back, and it was acquired by PayPal. I think 2-3 years ago. So we don't do a lot. We want to focus on areas that we really get, but we do have that internal domain expertise, both from building Curve, but also one of our partners at the team, Ronan, founded eToro. So we have a lot of expertise there, but we try to focus on verticals that we really get and verticals that we believe we can, bring value to the founders that we work with. And in the past year or two, we doubled down on the intersections of the domains that Team8 operates in. So take, for example, fintech and healthcare or fintech and cyber.
Those sweet spots.
Yeah, exactly. Because, we have several teams at Team8. Each one brings their own capabilities, their networks. And those areas are really interesting for us to build companies in. So,
double the fun.
Exactly. we launched Blue Spine this year, a company, part of the Fintech Fund, that the three founders came from a cybersecurity background.
Really?
They built a fintech solution for the healthcare industry. So just think about that. And they're basically helping, self-insured employers to lower their medical overbilling, trying to eliminate, very high costs. They're
much creativity in the fintech sector. Like that's, you're just like.
Again, fintech is broad. It's a lot. It meets us all in everything that we do.
Yeah.
What about like vertical AI? Like everyone's talking about like vertical integrations right now. I feel it's just like, it's a good selling
buzzword.
It's a good buzzword and it's a good way to sell it. Like we have a beautiful client. I think you would like their story. Interface AI. Do you know about them?
Yeah, I think I heard.
Yeah. So Interface, they were bootstrapped. And
love a bootstrap story.
They were bootstrapped.
Always starts good.
Yeah, it starts good. They were bootstrapped with their own. Srinivasan Najai is the founder, great guy, and basically they were profitable and they were making tens and millions in ARR, and only then now, like 2 months ago, they raised 30 million.
Amazing.
From one VC. Only from one VC wanted to buy a stake. So like, amazing. And what they do. They do a vertical integrated AI, like basically like ChatGPT for banks and credit unions. That's it, man.
Super focused.
Yeah.
Super focused. That's it.
Which I think in the AI space, that super focus is kind of what's gonna.
Yeah, I think vertical solutions definitely have a place, and we're doing it, and we're seeing it a lot at Team8 as well. I think AI in general for financial services is a very big thing, right? Yeah. 2025, I can expect will be like, I don't think I'm surprising anyone, but when implementing AI in different ways in financial services, we're all going to see the effect. I think we anticipated that to be in 2024 as well, and we aren't there yet. We've seen a lot of innovation in back office operations, customer support, where, don't get me wrong, it brings a lot of efficiency and a lot of cost cutting, but there's still, a way to go. And that's,
why is that? We're just not there innovation wise. Like what is
I would say two main things. One is regulation.
Okay.
Everything related to financial services regulation is big.
Right.
It's big. And it's one thing, in the way that you need to make sure, especially banks and credit unions, like you mentioned, they're super regulated. They need to make sure that when working with a vendor that has AI, they're safe. Their customers are safe. Their data is safe. So just see everything related to regulation. The past year, there was the European AI Act that I think passed through, which basically requires every enterprise, especially financial services, to make sure that they govern AI models. And it doesn't mean that there's not any adoption, but it means that they just need to make sure they have processes in place, which is a good thing. By the way, I also think it's a call for innovation in the compliance space. How do you comply?
Interesting.
Yeah. So
compliance tech.
Exactly, and it's part of fintech as well. We're seeing a lot.
It's also part of cybersecurity as well.
It's the exact intersection, right? Because you see a lot of, in the past year, AI security companies. We too at Team8 have an AI security company. We're seeing a lot of need in the market for that. Compliance is like the next part of the stack there.
Wow.
So I'll say regulation. I'll say also, people. It takes time, especially in financial services, to adopt new ways to interact with financial services or with your provider, right? People in general and financial decisions, we don't make the best decisions.
In financial decisions specifically, that's
Yes, like we spend more than we save, right? It's very basic, but we still don't do it. So we do have a way to go.
At me knowing about my shopping yesterday, I'm like,
I don't have it. I don't.
He's on to you.
I'm on to you.
He hacked your computer. He knows everything.
Yeah, I am still from Team8. We have those capabilities. Yeah.
Okay, but no, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, but I do think that in 2025, we're going to see a lot of AI. And, putting aside the early stage fintech startup mentality, just think about the banks and the big financial incumbents, because they're the ones with the customers, they're the ones with the data, and now you're giving them tools, capabilities that can make them build faster and cheaper, move quicker, like any other fintech startup. So the whole fintech playground is shaking up. So fintech banks collaboration, JP Morgan, Bank of New York, these big organizations have tons of AI employees. They're really at the forefront of AI. So it's amazing to see how, the financial landscape will look like in 10 years from now.
What do you think about, we talked about regulations. What do you think about the regulations here in Israel? When we talk about fintech, a lot of people think about Singapore, or they think about like this, or like the UK, like this big, or Dubai, like this big, like fintech, like mega countries who have basically